Georgia Southwestern hires a promising new head women's basketball coach. We'll talk with Coach Hana Haden right after this.
Welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, covering local sports in the Southwest Georgia area, creating content that is factual, positive, and informative, promoting efforts by athletes, coaches, and sports administrators. Now, here's your host, Tim Estes.
Hello and welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, powered by Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. If you have any tree or stump removal needs, maybe it's grinding or tree trimming, Harper's Tree and Stump Removal has you covered. They can even do driveway work. They can build ponds, repair pond dams, and now can do horizontal grinding of large wood debris piles. Give Keith a call at 229-314-2048. Or correction, 2028, or at 229-938-2412. Harper's Tree and Stump Removal is proud to be the premier sponsor of the Integrity Sports Podcast. Many of us have enjoyed watching Georgia Southwestern's women's basketball program over the past year. We followed their run to the Elite Eight at the NCAA Division II National Tournament. And after that was over, former head coach Justin Payne was able to secure a head job at a Division I school, his alma mater, and that's Nicholls State. And that left Georgia Southwestern needing a new women's basketball coach. We are glad to have that coach with us today. Coach Hana Haden, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Tim.
Coach, I know you've been in town for a few months now, and you've gotten to meet several people. I hope that everything's gone well so far, but for those who have not gotten to know you yet, let's give them a quick background on all your coaching stops from your first one until now.
Sure. So one, I'll say I actually played JUCO basketball. I actually played almost every level of basketball. I started at a D2, played my sophomore year, 1 year of junior college before I finished up playing at a small Division I school, Western Carolina University. From there, was fortunate enough to get right into coaching. I got a full-time coaching position at the University of Missouri St. Louis, which is a D2 school. I was there as an assistant coach for a year. And then the following year, I was the head coach at Harris Stowe State University, which is an NAIA program for 2 seasons. Then I went to be the assistant coach and recruiting coordinator at Lamar University in Texas, which is actually where I first met our former Lady Canes coach, Justin Payne, whenever he was an assistant at Nicholls. And after 1 season at Lamar, I spent the next 5 years at Moberly Area Community College, which is a Division I junior college program in Moberly, Missouri.
Well, Coach, the people in this area have really gotten used to good quality women's basketball. They've seen Coach Frey over at South Georgia Tech have tremendous success over the years. And then, of course, Coach Payne has had a lot of success over the past couple of years here. And both of those coaches, when this job became available and your name first surfaced, both of those coaches said that you need to give her a look. That's got to make you feel good.
It does, especially with two people, like Coach James Frey and Coach Justin Payne, both good friends of mine, both people I look up to. I'm a little too familiar with Coach James Frey and their success as they knocked us out of the national tournament down in Lubbock this past season. Coach Justin Payne, again, he's somebody that I got to know whenever we were both assistants in the Southland Conference. He recruited my players, when he was here at GSW, and was just able to, watch the program kind of from afar, not only keeping up with my former player, and then also, with Justin Payne being a good friend. So it means a lot, to have two people and coaches of that caliber, make a recommendation like that. It means a lot.
Hannah, give us an idea of kind of where you're at right now with your staff and your roster. I know that Nick Graham followed Justin Payne, so the men's or women's number one assistant left again, so you had to hire somebody. But just kind of give us an idea who left as far as players, what's recruiting going like. Give us an overall view.
Sure. So it'd probably be easier to start with who's coming back.
Yeah.
We just we graduated a lot. You have a couple of transfer maybe 1 or 2 going with Coach Justin Payne. So, which, is completely understandable. So I guess I'll start with one staff. Hopefully we're going to be able to announce that in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
In the hiring process, finishing up some things for us to be able to come out and publicly announce. But we will have, full-time assistant. We'll have 2 student assistants that I'm very excited about. One that has been a student assistant for me before. So we have some familiarity there. So we'll be really excited to hopefully announce those really soon. We have 4 returning players from last year's team. We have Destiny Garrett, who played some significant minutes at the guard position for the team last year. You've got Kayla Grant, who also played some significant minutes, especially down the stretch. I thought was just really huge for this team in the tournament. You got Kayla Langley, who is a very familiar face for me. She played for me 2 years at Moberly, so I'm excited to get the chance to coach her again. And she's had 2 great campaigns here. And because of COVID, we get to coach her for 1 more year and have her in a Lady Kings uniform for 1 more season. So really excited to see what she's going to accomplish. And also Jade Lewis, who was the only freshman on the team last year and didn't get a ton of in-game experience, but is a great young lady and a really hard worker. So we're excited that she's returning as well. There'll be lots of new faces. I think, the ones that I know I can talk about. We've got 3 freshmen coming in, talented freshmen. And credit to Justin Payne. They were recruited by him and hadn't signed quite yet, but I reached out and let him know that we still wanted them here at GSW. And we're really glad that they all 3 decided to still join us. So got a 6'3" post player, Shanae Jackson. She's from Brunswick, Georgia. Very promising, very talented, great size. I think, her being able to play, with Kayla Langley, we're actually going to have 3 6'3" post players this year. So I'm excited about just that competitiveness in practice. We've got Kwamaya Ward, who's a really talented guard at Eagles Landing, 17 points a game. Really just excited about what she's going to bring. And then you've got Kaylee Simpson from Carver High School in Columbus, which we know is a powerhouse program here in Georgia. So really excited about the freshman class that's coming in. Transfer-wise, I think we've got 3 that I can't get into too much details about, 2 that are very familiar to me, 1 that played for me at Moberly this past season, and 1 that actually played with me at Moberly when we had Kayla Langley. So she spent the last 2 years at Division I, and she'll be joining us. So, hopefully we'll be able to announce her in the next couple weeks. We've got another JUCO player that we saw, Coach Frey. They played after us at the national tournament last year. So she's coming from a really great program, and she'll be another name that we'll be able to announce here in the next couple of weeks. But the 4 transfers that we can talk about, 3 of them are All-Americans. 1 is a 3rd-team junior college All-American, Lexi McCulley. She was a region foe for us. She was at Mineral Area. So we played against her and saw her quite a bit the last couple seasons. 18 points a game. She's 9th in JUCO in total points. Really, really talented. She's a 3-level scorer. She can shoot it from anywhere on the floor. Just a big-time competitor. She played on a very good team. She was by far, their biggest piece. And at Moberly, she was always a huge part of our scouting report. And so I'd always be pretty upset whenever we were so focused in on her and we'd look and she'd still have 20. So I'm excited to be on the same side of the sideline as her this year. The other JUCO player that we signed is Ndidi Ndukwe, and she is from Iowa Western. She's an all-region player there on a team that had a ton of success. She plays the 4. So she's, either a big guard or a small post, but she's got that versatile skill set. She can step out and shoot it. She's got a big-time motor on the glass, very athletic, will get after it defensively. So we're very excited about her. And then we've got an All-American duo coming from NAI program, Central Methodist University, and their team, I think in these kids' 3 years, they're like 90 something and 10. Just
wow.
Really impressive. They've lost in the Final Four the last 2 years in a row. So one of these players is their leading scorer, Leanna Massanet. Averaged 18 points a game, 1st team NAI All-American, 5'9" guard. She's versatile. She shoots it almost 35% from 3. She gets to the basket. Just a very versatile scorer and a big-time competitor. And then the other package deal there, and that dynamic duo is the 6'3" post player that I mentioned, Leah Johnson.
Yeah.
And she's super talented. She's versatile. She's got great size. I'm really excited about our depth in the post. I thought that what GSW did last year obviously was so impressive in every facet, but especially if you look at kind of the lack of depth, just due to injuries and some things like that. You had Kayla Langley playing the 5, and when Kayla would go out, you had Kayla Grant sliding up. It's 5'10", and I mean, Kayla Grant, she's tough as nails, so I give her a ton of credit. But I'm just excited about the depth that we were able to add in the post this year.
Hannah, it sounds like you have put together a pretty good mix of high school kids, junior college transfers, and what about the portal? Do we dig into the portal any?
We did. So we've got the one Division I transfer that's a former player of mine that we'll be able to announce shortly. She was in the portal. We use the NAIA portal a little bit.
Yeah.
So we did try to get some balance in our classes, just with the way we lost a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a tall task in replacing Ava Jones and Jacqueline LeVay and Jaleesa Lawson. I mean, so many pieces, right? So we did try to go out and get experience, which is why you're going to see a very heavy junior class. So, and we're going to have 2 seniors next year, 7 juniors, 2 sophomores, and 3 freshmen. But I do like that balance in the classes, and I think that will probably always be our approach here. We want to get the really good high school kids in the area, and then we also want to go in the portal, and maybe it's a Georgia kid coming home. But we're going to recruit very hard locally and also on the national level, and hopefully be able to keep that really good mix of transfers and freshmen.
Hannah, as we look toward the winter, people need to know, what can they expect when they come and watch Hana Haden? When I think about Justin Payne, you knew when you walked in the Storm Dome, he was going to be dressed to a T, and sometime it was that Louisiana look, and he was going to run up and down the sidelines, and his defense was going to be tenacious. What is the mark of a Hana Haden coach team?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with Coach Payne and his outfits, because they were very impressive. I do like to do my sideline, be pretty colorful and things like that. But gosh, Coach Payne, he did a really great job. And then on the floor, I think one thing that fans will be familiar with is, I'm also a very defensive-minded coach. And, Coach Payne's teams were suffocating defensively, and that's going to be a goal for us as well. That's something my teams, I think every team that I've coached as a head coach has usually been top 10 in scoring defense. We want to hold teams, for a goal. The past couple of years has been under 55 points a game. And, we've got to establish establish that goal in this conference, because obviously we know the Peach Belt is a really, really good conference. But we want to be stingy defensively. You're going to see us mixing up pressing defenses, whether it's our man-to-man run and jump, or whenever we use our 2-2-1 press, we're going to get back in the half court, and we want to be disruptive. So I think much like GSW has been, we want to take teams out of what they want to do. We want to pressure the ball. We want to get out in passing lanes. And that kind of goes in tandem with our offense. So we want to get out and score the ball quickly. So to be able to do that, you got to turn teams over. You got to make them uncomfortable. You got to get them taking quick shots. We got to make sure that you're a really good rebounding team, so that you can get out and transition, and let's score quick, right? So we're trying to get out and get layups. Let's shoot transition threes. So I think it makes it a fun style of play that fans will continue to enjoy here.
Today, we're talking with Hana Haden, the head women's basketball coach at Georgia Southwestern. Our program is also brought to you today by Marty McDonald State Farm Insurance. They're located at 925 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard here in Americus. You can give them a call at 928-3686, and they'd be happy to sit down and discuss your insurance needs. Marty can even do the discount double check to make sure that you're getting all of the savings that are available for you. And as always, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Hannah, a few weeks ago, I was fortunate to have Mike Leader on as my guest, your athletic director. And one of the things he told me about you, he said, Tim, from the time I first spoke with Hannah on the phone to the time we hired her was only about 7 or 8 days. So I know that had to be a whirlwind, but walk us through that process. And I know our viewers would be interested in what was so attractive to you about Georgia Southwestern.
Yeah, it did. It moved really quick. It was a whirlwind. I remember the first time that I spoke to Coach Leader, I was packing up because I was driving down to Dallas the next day for the WBCA convention. So it just happened so fast. I can say I have followed the program from afar. Again, the past couple of years, from following Coach Justin Payne, following Kayla Langley, and just the success that they had here. So I had been watching what was going on. I had conversations with Coach Payne. So whenever he let me know that that he was going to take the job at Nichols, I saw the opportunity there and was able to connect with Coach Leader, and we had a great conversation. I think, anywhere that you see people experiencing success like this, then you have to know there's some things in place, right,
Yeah.
to help you be successful. I think that was one thing that really intrigued me because, again, I just saw what the program had been doing, so I knew that there had to be good things happening here. And then, when I got on campus, I always like to. I always like to think about it in a way like if I was a student athlete, would I want to come here? And the answer was yes. Obviously, I would love to play in the Storm Dome. And so many things, the recruiting room, the locker room, and the weight room, and the film room, and all the investments that President Weaver and Mike Leader and the rest of the GSW community, all the resources that they've invested to make this a place that's very attractive. And so that was my thing. I came on campus, I said, I can recruit here. It's no wonder Justin was getting, great players to come in here. And again, he's made the job easier for me because now not only have some great facilities, but you've got some some great success to be able to recruit on. But that was, I think the biggest thing for me. And then the people, I always think that the people make the place. And, our entire campus community, our administration, everywhere you go on this campus, everybody's going to talk to you just like they know you and make you feel very welcome and at home. And then this department, I want to tell you this. So in Missouri, my fiance and I, we hired a company to help us load the truck up, and then we drove it here and to move into our apartment. That company of 4 people took, I think, 2.5 hours to get our apartment loaded into the truck. And we pulled up here on a Sunday, and I think it was a holiday weekend. And the coaches in this department had us completely moved in an hour and 15 or 20 minutes.
Wow.
Everybody just, it was a complete group effort. And heavy stuff. Gosh, I felt bad, but they got everything. And then not only that, it's not like they just brought it up there and dumped it and left. People stayed and were helping me, put things away and where do you want this? And, it makes it really special to be a part of a place like that, where it's just such a close knit group. Everybody supports each other on and off the floor, or playing field. And it's been really great to be a part of.
And that kind of leads me into what I want to talk about next. And I've noticed this just as a citizen and a fan of Georgia Southwestern, is how the coaches there support each other at their games. Yeah. And I've been to a baseball game since you've been on campus, saw you there. I've seen you over at Nikki Levering's softball field and watching those girls play. And I know they'll do the same for you. I know Coach Aaron Coombs is always at the women's game, and Justin was always at his game. And it just seems like you guys not only support each other, I guess that's a professional courtesy, but it looks like you really do have a good relationship behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think people are invested in each other, and this is, it is a small department. So there's so many things that, we need each other to make things work. Right. So I know, like, during basketball season, whether it's the baseball, softball, soccer staff, just helping with game day operations and baseball tournament, one, that was so exciting, to get down here and just be in the midst of our tournament, the
Right.
championship run. And, but it takes people to help make those things work, So again, it was all hands on deck and getting things set up to host the Peach Belt Conference Tournament Championship. So that was really exciting. And I would say it's, not just that support, but that investment, and everybody here wants to see each other do well. And not only that, but are willing to help each other do well. And I think that's it's really special.
Yeah. Hannah, one of the neat things about our program, we are sponsored by WMNZ, AM 1050 out of Montezuma. And every week they take the audio off of this program and play it on their radio station. So we certainly want to thank Lance Teal and the fine folks at WMNZ AM 1050. And each week I ask our guests to give us an idea of that family support network behind the scenes. We don't know much about your family yet. Hope we do. But give our viewers an opportunity to know those folks that have really lifted you up and encouraged you.
Sure. So I want to start with my mom and my stepdad, Leanne and Tim Snyder. And gosh, I mean, their support of my basketball career, and along with my grandparents, Janice Jernigan and my grandfather, Don Jernigan, who's no longer with us. But I mean, they just spent, gosh, lots of weekends and days and hours, taking me to basketball practice and tournaments and games. Starting a long, long time ago when I was probably in the 5th grade. And, they just supported me in every stop that I've been. They've adopted every team that I have, and, they're very, very invested in our success, and they get to know the girls, and it's just, that's been really special. And they've always supported me, in my journey, no matter how far it's taken me. So, I played a year of high school basketball in Virginia. I obviously went out to Western Carolina and North Carolina for my last 2 years, or it's down to Texas. They've just been very, very supportive, and that has helped me so much, just being able to, take on different endeavors, knowing you have that family support. And then, of course, my fiance, Vic, he's a professor, and he's originally a New Yorker. So, to be able to, he packed it up and moved down to America's Georgia sight unseen.
Wow.
So it just means a lot to be able to have that support as well, be able to make some of these moves for my career.
Well, Hannah, it's been great to have you on here today and to get to know a little bit about you. I'll tell you this, we really look forward to supporting your efforts. We've got a lot of GSW fans that watch this program, and we're excited about the future. We feel like that Coach Mike Leader and Neil Weaver and the gang have really gone out and gotten the person that we need. So we look forward to being a part of that support network for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing everybody in the Storm Dome.
Thank you again for making the Integrity Sports Podcast a part of your weekly routine. Don't forget to like and share this video if you're watching on Facebook. We're really building a strong YouTube presence right now. So if you're watching this on something other than YouTube, let me encourage you to go to YouTube, type in Integrity Sports Podcast, and up in the top right corner, hit the subscribe button. It's free. We won't load you up with notifications or anything like that, but we can do a lot more with this podcast in the future if we can reach the 1,000 subscriber mark. So we're well on our way to doing that. But thank you for joining us today. This is also going to be available on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and on 8 other social media and podcast platforms. But for GSW women's basketball coach Hana Haden, I'm Tim Estes. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody.